Hello my friends, thank you for stopping by. If you like these videos, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel and click that bell to get notified when I post videos like this. Now that college is starting back up, I wanted to discuss a phenomenon that has been fairly popular among the college age people like me, and that is the whole your truth um, uh, mantra. And you've probably heard a variation of that, like, live your truth. Well, that person is simply living his or her truth. Or, you live your truth and I'll live my truth. I didn't think much about this because I was like, most college people don't think about this stuff, so I just thought, they're just doing what feels good. The issue is that when I saw it happen in the mainstream light, I thought, okay, we need to pull it back. Now, I heard this first from the mainstream from Oprah Winfrey during the 75th Golden Globes when she accepted her, I think, Lifetime Achievement Award. I think it was in either 2018 or 2019, I don't remember. But she told people who are watching to live your truth. And I could not believe that this college mantra that is self-defeating made its way into the mainstream. Because the minute you start to think about it, you realize that this ideology, by definition, cannot exist in this world, regardless of how you view the world. Well, let me explain. Basically, this ideology cannot exist and cannot be held consistently. And because it cannot exist in a world of objective truths, and it cannot be cannot and simply will not be held consistent in a world with no objective truth. And honestly, that's the only two choices we have as how to live. You either live in a world where there is objective truth, or you live in a world where there's no objective truth. Now, I'm not sure if this particular explanation is popular among scholars, but I had heard that in many, in like the view of people who follow Hindu or Buddhism, that both can be correct. Like, for instance, I've heard from Hindus that every walk of life and viewpoint is correct to some degree. But the issue here is that it violates the law of non-contradiction, which states that A and not A cannot be correct at the same time. And here's what I mean by that. How on earth can two opposite things be true at the same time? How can you live in a world that both has objective truth and no objective truth? The answer is you can't. I'm not sure how Buddhism, a Buddhist worldview, even falls into this, but I had heard from some of my peers that it does. So, like I said, I don't know if this is like an academic problem in for certain scholars of philosophy or whatever, but I'm simply responding to a large mass of college students who think like this. And since I'm a college student, sometimes I see this. So I'm going to just simply disregard a potential world view where both can exist, or one can exist at one time and one can't exist at another time, because that simply does not make sense. So let's go to the first choice. We live in a world with objective truths. Well, the simple fact is, if we live in a world of objective truth, the problem with the ideology of your truth is apparent to anyone intellectually honest. By definition, the truth doesn't belong to anyone, and the truth doesn't change on a whim like that. For instance, if I say that 2 plus 2 equals 5, and you say that's incorrect, 2 plus 2 equals 4, what would you say if I came back and said, well, that's your truth, but my truth is 2 plus 2 equals 5? you can honestly see the problem. Obviously, objective truth exists because 2 plus 2 equals 4. That is a truth statement. In a world of objective truths, if truth statements exist, and if truth statements exist, then you cannot possibly claim to live your truth. There's no your truth, there's no my truth, there's only the truth. And if you live in a world where you believe something can be objectively true, you cannot go around claiming to live your truth and to live my truth. I honestly think some people who claim that simply are not secure in their positions and have no clue how to defend them. So they simply shout that mantra knowing that they could potentially have a mob behind them to silence anyone claiming that they are wrong. Because in a world of objective truths, it's very possible, and by definition has to happen, for something to be objectively wrong. For instance, if I have a green ball, it's objectively wrong to call it anything else, whether it be a blue ball or a water bottle or a skyscraper. And like I said, basically in a world of objective truths, it's very apparent to anyone with a brain that the term your truth doesn't fit in that world. Now, in the other view, where there's no objective truths, stating what your truth is completely pointless because both would be equally valid, or any truth would be equally valid. For instance, I live my life as I value human life, and I'd not rather anything. I value human life. I don't want to see it ruined or destroyed because I believe people have value. However, some barbaric people of the past, like Hitler and Stalin, believed that they could kill anyone they wanted on a whim if they didn't meet their criteria. Hitler believed in master race, and if you weren't part of that race, he wanted you eliminated. Stalin wanted complete power, and if he just deemed that you weren't worthy of living, he simply starved you, killed you, shot you, whatever. And often, that could be simply you disagreeing with his truth, if you will. And no one at all holds that consistently for this very reason. You're listening? Because the idea of your truth completely breaks down the minute you believe another truth is morally wrong or incorrect. It breaks down the minute you believe another truth is morally wrong or incorrect. Basically, the scenario I gave about Hitler and Stalin may be a bit extreme, but let me give you another example that's probably a bit more realistic and more relatable. Let's just say you're somebody who is completely inclusive. You accept everyone, and you believe that everybody's living their truth. Whether it be, who knows, that you believe all sexual assault victims, or you believe that anybody who disagrees with you is evil, which breaks down the whole idea of no objective truths. But if you're one of these inclusive people, and then you say that, like, say Christians not accepting homosexuality is wrong, you break down that worldview because you are claiming that another truth is wrong, and you are bringing an absolute statement into this worldview. By definition, if you believe that people just live in their truth, there should be no morally wrong or incorrect truth, but you completely abandon that when it's convenient. There is a photo that I think illustrates a point that's not very good, but I think this is why people do this. There's a video of two people on opposite sides of a 9 or 6. One looks at it and says that it's a 9. The other person looks at it and says, well, from my point of view, it's a 6. And I've actually had somebody show me this photo and say, this is exactly what we mean by your truth and my truth. the issue with this is that this photo breaks down when you examine it. Suppose I go to a store and I want something that's $8, $8, whatever, and I have a check. For the youngins, a check is something they wrote out and gave to a banker before a credit card. I'm kidding. But anyway, I had a check that I wrote $6 on, and the cashier says, this check won't cover the item. You're going to have to come back when you have enough money. And the patron says, well, yeah, but from my point of view, it's $9. You see the issue? You can use different point of views to find truth, but there is only one truth. It's not both a 6 and a 9. It's one or the other, and you can use your points of views to try to figure out what exactly it is. But there is objective truth, because if there weren't, my scenario could not happen. My scenario would be the cashier sees $6, the patron sees $9, and either the cashier accepts that that person's truth is correct or they're at complete standstill. Basically, do not. I would want to ask anyone to stop using the term your truth and my truth, because it cannot be held, and I guarantee that you will not hold it. I cannot hold it, because this entire video is my truth completely going against what your truth might be. Now, I read an article from The Atlantic that tried to explain what people like Oprah meant by your truth, and the issue here is that semantics matter, and they're trying to completely disregard that. What I mean by that is, people say, well, by your truth, we don't mean objective truth, we mean points of views, or what we believe. The issue with that is, when you use the term truth, you're giving implication that you are axiomatically right. In other words, you don't have to prove you're right. You know you're right, and therefore people should accept it. I'll give an example of why semantics matter. Let's just say I open a restaurant named Gyrorific, whatever, and my tagline or slogan is, we put kids in grills for you to eat. You'll be like, what on earth? You're putting kids in grills? And I say, well, no. When I say kids, I mean goat meat. Now, obviously, you could think goat meat because gyro, but that has a really weird implication. I'm either being completely obtuse, I'm trying to be funny, or I have no clue what on earth I'm talking about. Now, that's probably not a great example, because when you hear a gyro, you immediately think goat meat, but I just came up with that on top of my head, the name. But the issue is that semantics matter, because the minute you hear it, you have a preconception of what it will mean. First impressions are everything. When I heard your truth, my mind immediately went to, I know people who say this aren't wholeness, because there is objective truth. I'm a biology major, and I work in a field of objective truths. In biology, things work regardless of what one thinks. For instance, the cells in your body need oxygen to survive. That is not my truth. That is simply the truth and reality of nature. To conclude, I just want to say, please, I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm not here to say that you're an idiot if you believe any of this. I'm simply here to say, please think this ideology over, because when it comes down to it, you simply cannot and will not hold it consistently. You will abandon your worldview of your truth, whether you realize it or not. And that really concludes my ramble for today. If you have anything to say, whether it be a rebuttal, an acknowledgement, or simply a suggestion as to what you want to hear me ramble about, or even a future movie review or whatnot, pretty much anything you want to say, please comment down below or shoot me an email. If you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell if you actually want to be subscribed. And if you want to see updates to my uploads, specifically the movie review uploads, as I tweet about those most often, Follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description below. Until next time, thank you for watching, goodbye, and God bless.